and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. This is going to be another Try That Trope episode. So it is properly roasting in the UK at the minute, like super summer heatwave, and your gal is struggling because like I'm naturally ginge, right? You could probably tell that through the various bad dye jobs that I've had done through the years on the channel. And I'm freckly AF, natch, and I didn't really deal well with the heat. I just like automatically evaporate into a puddle of sweat, and it's disgusting. So I'm trying to like bring forward the autumnal vibes, right? Like I've got my flannel shirt on, I've got my cute cosy coffee with like a wee bit pumpkin spice in there just to get the mood flowing, and I thought what better than on a roasting hot summer's day to make you feel like you're getting cosy autumn vibes than to read some cosy mysteries. So cosy mysteries are a genre that I have never read. I haven't really read any before ever, other than the Suki Stackhouse books by Charlene Harris that are sort of a part cosy mystery, part paranormal romance, and I feel like the romance, especially later on in the series, definitely takes over for the cosy mystery, but the first couple are definitely cosy mysteries, and Charlene Harris is obviously a cosy mystery writer, and I have just been loving her writing. And so off the back of them, I then started to find other supernatural cosy mysteries that I might enjoy, because they just put me totally in the mood for them. But I've never just tried like a straight cosy mystery, and I thought that it would be fun to try it, and that's what this episode is all about. It's exploring my reading taste a wee bit further and finding what I like and what I don't like. So ages ago I read a middle grade on my channel called A Midsummer's Mayhem, and I really loved it, and a lot of it was to do with food and bacon, and that is a trope that I really enjoy in books, and it's not something that I've ever really thought about. But when I think back to a lot of my favourite fantasy books that I've really enjoyed, a lot of the fantasy has like really heavily described the food and the drink and like maybe some of the cooking process and things like that, and that's just something that I enjoy. So I thought for this I would try to read cosy mysteries that are set in a bakery, because I really liked the baking element of that book, and Gaia Athena actually recommended me a cosy mystery off the back of that video, and she recommended me Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder by Joanna Fluke, and so I've had this on my shelves eyeing me up, and I was like, I might read you soon. And then when I took part in the BookTube Blitz, Jarrett, one of my Team Tartan members, was reading a book in the Bake Shop Mystery series, and the first one was Meet Your Baker by Ellie Alexander. It is just by coincidence that these are both bright yellow, by the way. Wasn't planned, but I like the colour coordination. And so I've decided that I am going to read these two to see if I like the trope of a cosy mystery set in a bakery. That's what we're doing. I feel like this has been a very long intro, but aye. These are the books that we're reading this week. Come hang out with me and see if I like them. So I'm actually off on holiday this week, and I have had like loads of fun stuff planned, and I have vlogged none of it so far. Because I'm the worst. But I am about halfway through this book. I'm at page 152. So I'm starting with Meet Your Baker because I'm reading this physically, whereas I have the audio for Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder. And so I thought I would start with this one because I had a wee bit more time at the beginning of the week to sit and read properly, whereas later in the week we're a wee bit busier, and so we'll probably be trying to squeeze in some audio. I'm really loving this. Like, I can't tell you how quick and easy read this is. Like, I'm halfway through the book and I read that near enough in one sitting just because it is so immensely enjoyable. So in this one we have our main character Juliet, and her dad died when she was pretty young, and her mum is single-handedly running a bakery. Well, Juliet is going and learning how to be a pastry chef on a cruise ship. Now, something has happened between her and her ex. Her and her husband have split up, and so she has came back home just for a bit of breathing space to try and work things out and figure out her next steps. And when she gets home, she realises that her mum and the bakery are in some trouble, and you know, she's going to try and stick about to support her mum for a wee bit. And while she's there, obviously a murder happens, and it happens in the bakery. Juliet finds the body, and so she finds herself sort of wrapped up in being involved in the investigation. I'm not going to say any more plot wise than that at this stage, but these vlogs tend to get pretty spoilery, so like if you are interested in reading either of these books, I probably wouldn't watch the rest of the vlog. This will be your official spoiler warning, because the last vlog that I did, the last Try Your Trope one, I kept putting up like my wee spoiler warning stickers when I was like going into spoiler territory, and when I was editing it, it was like pretty much the entire vlog. So I'm not going to do that this time and just assume that the vlogs are going to be spoilery. I really like Juliet as a character. I found her very easy to connect with, and I feel for her. I think that she cares so much about her mum, but being back in town is difficult, because she of course is then faced with the fact that her dad is no longer there, and she's sort of dealing with that a wee bit. You know what it's like, anybody who's lost anybody, if you go away for a wee while and then you go back to where that person lived, like the fact that they aren't there anymore is pretty galling, and it doesn't matter how long since they passed, it can still be a bit like, oh, like a wee bit of a punch to the gut, and she's certainly feeling that, which just made me instantly connect with her. I am not too frustrated about the pacing in this book, which was a concern for me going into it, because although it's a cosy mystery and so it feels pretty low stakes in terms of the murder mystery, because we had a lot of stuff happening with Juliet and her ex-husband, I was like, see if this is going to be drawn out like to the very end of the book and we're not knowing what happens, like that's just going to frustrate me, and I'm not really going to get on board with it. And although we don't know 100% what has happened at this stage, it's been hinted enough that I can sort of figure it out, and so I am not finding that as frustrating as I usually would, and I feel like it's actually done in quite a decent way. I think that anybody who's maybe been in a bad relationship or has tried to get over a bad relationship, it can be daft wee things that'll maybe give you flashbacks, or like be like, oh my god, like why am I thinking of that now? And I think that it's handled very well by Alexander in here. It is very true to life, and so I am enjoying that as opposed to finding it frustrating, because I didn't feel like it is being done for effect. I don't feel like Ellie Alexander is trying to tease me to continue to keep reading this book to find out what's happening with Juliet's personal life. I feel like it is how Juliet would deal with things, and therefore I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I really like the character of Juliet's mum, and we meet some other characters in here as well, because it's all centred in this wee town, and the chief of police is also known as the professor, because he just gives off like professor vibes, and he's very funny. I really like him. The deputy is Juliet's ex-high school boyfriend, and I don't know how I feel about him yet. I feel like I've not had enough time to suss him out as a character. We also have Andy and Stephanie, and they are essentially workers in the bake shop. They're both sort of teenage high school college students who Juliet's mum has hired to basically help her, and Andy is just so lovely. I really enjoy him. I think he's very funny, and I just want to be his mum, which like we know is a thing for me when I read, like if there's a character in it and I want to be their mum, like I'm loving the book. And then Stephanie, and I really like Stephanie. She's a wee bit more of a closed book at this point. I don't feel like we've got to know her as much, but I am enjoying getting to know her throughout this. At the moment I have a couple of suspicions as to who the killer could be, but there isn't anybody at the moment who is like sticking out to me as blindingly obvious, and I'm just really enjoying it. I'm having a great time in the town. I'm really enjoying getting to know people, and I am really enjoying Juliet's point of view. I think that she is a really great main character, and something that I am really enjoying about this cosy mystery is it feels pretty modern. I think that a lot of cosy mysteries are aimed at older readers or have been written in older times, and this feels pretty modern because there's a couple of characters in here who are a bit alternative, and I often find that in thrillers or crime books or TV shows, anybody who doesn't fit the norm is automatically pegged as a suspect, which, like, being a bit of an alternative gal really pisses me the F off. And I feel like in this book, like, Juliet, she isn't overly judgmental in these alternative characters. Like, Stephanie's a bit alternative, and she, you know, has reservations about Stephanie because of how Stephanie works and no because of how Stephanie dresses. And then there's another character who sort of comes into it who's a bit of a side character, and she didn't really like him at first because it was causing a wee bit of a scene in the bakery, and she was like, you're a wee bit of a ball. But again, she didn't like him because of his behaviour and know how he was dressed. And then after she actually has a conversation with him, she's like, he's a lovely boy. And I really like that, because I think that too often alternative characters or anybody who isn't like 100% able to fit into some sort of a box is a bit of a scapegoat, and I like that that isn't going to be the case in here, or at least I feel like that isn't going to be the case in here. But I am thoroughly enjoying it so far, and I could probably read the rest of this in another sitting, to be honest, because it is just phenomenal. So I will catch up with you when I have more thoughts, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far. So I am nearly finished Meet Your Baker. I only have maybe about 50 pages left. I'm up to page 220 at the moment. We still don't know who the killer is, although, like, there's still quite a few different possibilities, which I think is really cool that we only have a short amount of time left. I'm still no 100% certain on who it could be, and they're sort of leading us to one character, but already they're like, but it could still be this person. And so I hope it's going to be wrapped up well. I hope that whoever it actually is makes sense, and that the ending isn't rushed. That would be my only concern. But I think it's cool that I haven't picked like who I think it's going to be, because although I don't read like a lot of thrillers or mysteries or anything like that, anytime I do read one, like, I always have pretty strong instincts, and like, not to toot my own horn, but they tend to be correct. And so the fact that I'm like, I'm not really too sure, I think is proof that this is written very well. And I am really, really loving it. I'm still really loving Juliet as a main character. I think that she is brilliant, and we're sort of getting a wee bit more of her mum, which I am liking. It is hinting that her mum is having a bit of a romance with the professor, but they are trying to sort of hide it, and I think that Juliet probably wouldn't mind, to be honest. Her dad passed quite a while ago, so I think that, you know, she would think that the time her mum had waited had been respectful, and she'd be probably happy that her mum had found somebody. And so I really like that. It's sort of like second chance love vibes, which I am enjoying. We're still uncertain at this stage what has happened between Juliet and Carlos. I thought that he had cheated. That was my instinct for the beginning. Just some of the stuff she was saying, and like, she was leaving hints that she had found letters, and so I just assumed they were like love letters. But she's talking actually that they were not too sure where to settle down, and he wanted to go back to Spain and settle in his home, and she obviously wanted to go somewhere closer to her mum and settle somewhere there. And so I think what's actually happened is maybe he has made arrangements to go back to Spain, or for them to like buy his mum and dad's restaurant or something like that, without speaking to her about it, and she's maybe found the letters, and I think that that's maybe what has happened there. And there's maybe no an element of being unfaithful in it. but she's having sort of a cute wee flirtationship with her high school boyfriend, the deputy, and I'm really digging it. Like I'm just really enjoying it. Like there has been no romance between them so far. There's like maybe a wee hint of it, and she like is like, by the way, didn't want to be with you, like my head's a mess, I am not ready for it, and he's like, mate, I've a bird, like I wasn't putting the moves on, I just wanted to talk to you about this investigation, which was very cringy and funny. But they are sort of spending more time together, and her mum has hinted like, well, this is the most I've seen him around in years, like now that you're back home, and I would actually ship it if they got together. I think it could be really sweet. I'm having a great time with this, and the big chunk that I read yesterday, again I read in one sitting really. It's just very bingeable, and I'm having a hard time like no reading more so that I can catch you up with my feelings, because I'm just enjoying it so much, and I already think that this is a series that I would definitely continue with. I haven't finished the book yet, like it could end terribly and I could decide that I hate it forever, but I really didn't think so. It's just brilliant, I'm really enjoying it. I like the town, I like the side characters, I feel like I'm part of all their wee inside jokes, which we know I like. And I've really connected to everybody in here, and I think it sounds like a brilliant wee town. And the way that the food and the cooking is described in here is just brilliant. You're getting like a lot of technical detail as well, and as somebody who bakes and really enjoys baking, like I appreciate that. And like Juliet is a pastry chef, and so you almost get like wee hints and tips to help your own baking. And when I was on the bus home there, I realised that there is actually recipes up the back here as well, which is just such a cool wee addition. I really enjoy that. So some of the food that she talks about in here, there's recipes so that you can try and make it yourself, and I am definitely making her raspberry danishes, because like as soon as she spoke about them in like the beginning of the book, it is all I've thought about. So I'm loving it so far, and I will update you when I have more thoughts. Me and Simon had a wee date night last night, which was very fun. We went and we bought books. Simon had a Waterstones voucher, so we went in and shopped a wee bit of Waterstones. He got me 2 books, very lucky. He got me Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy, which comes so highly recommended from Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, that we are going to read it for a Book 101 coming to BookTube at some point, hopefully soon. And then he also got me Boyfriends by Michael Pedersen, and this is I guess Michael's thoughts and feelings and journey of dealing with his grief after Scott Hutchison, the lead singer of Frightened Rabbit, killed himself. And you know, they were very close, and I guess it's just about him navigating that. And as somebody who loves Frightened Rabbit and loved Scott Hutchison a lot, I think that this will be a really sad but healing read, if that makes sense, to read somebody else who knew him, who was going through the stages. Like I think it will just be nice, and like I'll probably sob a lot, but he got me this and I'm very pleased. We also have decided that for Christmas this year we are just going to buy each other second-hand books, because hopefully we will have a library by then, or close to a library by then, and so that's what we're going to do for each other this year. So we scoured around the charity shops in Glasgow and picked up some of those for each other as well, which was very fun. But I will put in clips of Waterstones, and I will put in pictures of our food, because oh my god, like I try to not eat a lot of red meat. I'm not a big red meat eater anyway, to be honest. I'm like a chicken and fish kind of gal. I would eat chicken 7 days a week to be truthful. That is like my favourite meat, but we do try to cut down our meat consumption, because it's better for the environment, and as part of that we try to eat as little red meat as possible. And we treated ourselves last night. We went out for steak and it was just amazing. It is the first steak I've had in God knows how long, but it was phenomenal. I loved it. Gibbering aside, I will catch up with you when I have more thoughts. Hello, welcome to another day of the vlog. So I have finished Meet Your Baker. I lay in bed this morning and I read like the last 70 pages or so, cuddled up with the dog and my coffee, and it was brilliant. This is a 5-star. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, I know I've said that the entire vlog is going to be spoilery, but I'm going to ruin this book for people now, so a spoiler's under your bag and you fancy reading this. So's about it. This isn't the video for you. So we find out why Juliet and Carlos split up, and it wasn't what I suspected, to be honest. So it turns out that the letters she found, one of the letters from his dad or another woman, as you know, it was sort of hinted at, but in fact they were letters from his son. And so it turns out that the relationship that Carlos had with a woman named Sophia prior to meeting Juliet was more serious than Carlos had let on, and they actually had a kid together, and he didn't tell Juliet that this entire time. So they've been together for years, they've been married for years, you know, planning where they're going to settle down for their future, and she finds all these letters from his kid. So quite a bombshell, and that obviously makes sense as to why he was pushing to settle down in Spain, because of course he wants to be close to his son, and I'm sure anybody could empathise with that. I have seen mixed reviews on this book, right, and one of the things that people are saying is that they feel like Juliet is very dramatic because the whole Carlos situation, when it's revealed, they felt like it didn't warrant her leaving him. And like, I need to beg to differ, but if you can conceal an entire human being from somebody else, like, that's A, top-notch lying skills, and 2, a humongous breach of trust. And I think that speaks a lot to Carlos's character as well. Like, why would you want to hide your kid? And like, have they been a priority? How much have they factored into your plans? Like, how much does Juliet really mean to him and the kid mean to him if they haven't even met each other? I'm totally on Juliet's side here, I'm sorry, but like, I think that that is ridiculous. You can't just hide a human and like expect there to be no repercussions. So I'm Team Juliet here. I really liked the way that the romance I went all American, the romance between Juliet and her high school boyfriend Thomas, because there's actually no romance in here, like there isn't, but they're flirty, and I'm really buying into it, because I think that if they were to get together by the end of this book, I'm not gonna lie, I ship it, so I would have been pleased. But like, also I think in terms of Juliet and her as a person, and the time that it'll take her to heal and move on and find out what it is that she wants after the whole Carlos fiasco, I think it's good that she's just getting time to sort of sit with herself and decide what it is that she actually wants. And again, that just like reinforces the believability of the book. I think that Ellie Alexander's done an absolutely amazing job in here. Like, all these characters feel so real. Like, the drama of their everyday lives feels real, and like, it does feel high stakes at times, but still in keeping with like the really cosy, lovely bakery vibes. And it was just amazing, absolutely phenomenal. When the reveal happened as to who the killer was, it wasn't who I was expecting it to be. In those last 70 pages, I had banked on it being a character called Lance, and he was like the director of the theatre company, and I was like, it's 100% you. And then the story started steering it towards it being him, and I was like, well, it obviously isn't, but I couldn't peg who it was going to be. And I'm really pleased with who it was, actually, because like I was saying in some of my earlier clips, I really appreciate that Ellie Alexander didn't just pin it on, you know, the misfits and the people who maybe didn't conform to the norm. And I just really appreciated that. This has given me like total found family vibes, and I am definitely going to continue this series 1000%. I don't know if I've already said, but it was 5-star for me and I absolutely loved it. This is 18 parts and counting, but I think if I was to read one of these a year, like, I would be happy with that. But it was great. I think that these characters are going to stay with me for a long time. Like, I only finished the book this morning and I'm already feeling like I'm missing them. So I think they will definitely stick with me for a while. And so now I'm going to start Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder, and I will chat back to you when I have some update. Hello, it is another day, another vlog clip. So it's a couple of days after I updated you last, because I went through to visit my parents, and so I didn't really get much reading done while I was through there. But I have read some of Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder. So I'm about to start chapter 12, 125 pages read. I am not loving this as much as Meet Your Baker. I have a couple of issues with the writing in this book. However, I'm still enjoying the story. So I feel like this, just for reference, was published in the 2000s, and Meet Your Baker was when? 2015. So quite a time difference between the two of these being published, and you can tell that this is just a wee bit more dated, and I'll sort of get into that now, whereas this is like this but an updated modern take, which I really appreciate. So in the beginning of this, when we are sort of being introduced to our character, our main character is Hannah, and when we're being introduced to Hannah and a couple of Hannah's sisters, her mum, people in the town, you know, her assistant that works with her in the bakery, it is very info dumpy, and the main characters have conversations that just didn't feel like realistic dialogue between the characters, and so you can tell that Joanna Fluke wrote it with the intent that we would get information from it. You know, like at one point Hannah's sister is just like, oh, like I've not been a very good sister, and you know, when this happened with mum's health and you came all the way back, and it's like, right, this doesn't feel like a natural conversation. I know that you're having this conversation, so I will grasp that there is a backstory here that I am assuming will be unravelled throughout the book, and that is never my favourite. I just think that back in the day, again with this being an older book, like that was sort of the done thing, whereas now there's so many more natural and interesting ways for an author to get a plot across, so that's a wee bit annoying. The other thing in here that is annoying me so far is it's just a wee bit like the women in it are a bit stereotypy, which is just a bit frustrating, especially coming off of the back of Meet Your Baker, where all the female characters were just written so brilliantly, and they all felt like unique individuals, whereas in here it does just feel like they are stereotypes, and we know that that's a bit of a bugbear for me. Like your main character Hannah, like she never really cares about her appearance, you know, she's just focused on her wee bakery and doing what she needs to do, and like great, love that for you, but she's going along and she's solving this murder. It just so happens that, you know, the first couple of people she needs to talk to are somebody who sells cosmetics, and you know, as a ruse to help, you know, get in with this woman, she ends up buying loads of cosmetics and realising she actually quite likes doing her makeup, and then she needs to go and see, you know, the woman who owns like the local dress shop, and it just so happens that she's a perfect cocktail dress for her that she's going to get her at a massively discounted price because there's this party coming up, and she's like and then her mum's like, well, let me buy you new shoes and a bag to like go wear it, and she's like, no, I've got them, I don't need that, and then her mum ends up getting her shoes, and it's like, oh, come on. And as well, like Hannah comes across as like a really straightforward, direct person, which like I can relate, because if that isn't me, you wear the back. But like, I don't know, she then goes on like a shopping trip with the like person who's her partner assistant in the bakery, and there's like a deal on where you're getting like 2 shoes for the price of yen or whatever, and you know, our assistant was looking up a pair of shoes, so Hannah's like, right, well, let me get them for you then, like if I'm getting them anyway, and she's like, no, it's fine, like I would never wear them, and all of a sudden Hannah's like, oh well, like every woman deserves a pair of new shoes, you know, if they're beautiful, even if they just sit on a shelf. And I'm like, but then at the beginning of the book you didn't give a fuck about your appearance, so now why are you like acting like your own Sex in the City and trying to encourage every cunt to buy a pair of shoes? That is a wee bit frustrating for me, I am not going to lie. Surprisingly, it isn't putting me off Hannah as a character. I feel like that is just bad writing on the author's part, but isn't putting me off Hannah, whereas usually that would be like, ugh, eye roll, like can't be arsed. But I actually am really enjoying her. I am enjoying the story, I am gripped, I'm excited to see where it goes, I'm really liking the town, and again I'm really liking all the bacon chat in here, and there are recipes in this book as well. Except unlike the last one where they were all sort of at the end, they are like fed through here. So like she'll talk about baking something in a specific chapter, and then like the recipe for it will be right there, which is just very, very cool. So I think tomorrow when I come in from work, I've got the audiobook for this, and so I think when I come in I'm going to make Hannah's chocolate chip crunch cookies for this book, and then I'm going to make Juliet's raspberry danishes from this book and listen to this a wee bit when I get in for work. Hello, back to my kitchen. So I've read more A Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder today, but not a huge amount, so I'm up to page 175. I am still enjoying it, and I'm still enjoying Hannah, and it is feeling definitely cosy, but I haven't connected to any of the characters in here the same way as I connected to them in Meet Your Baker. I really cared about everybody in Meet Your Baker, and I really only care about Hannah so far in this. But I'm having a good time, so I'm going to bake just now. I'm going to make one of the recipes for here. I'm going to make the chocolate crunch cookies, and then I'm going to make the raspberry danishes if you Meet Your Baker. So I've got both my books for my recipes, and I'm going to do this on audio while I bake. So I haven't quite finished. Oh, I'm throwing like all my books everywhere because I am clumsy AF. But I am on chapter 24, so up to page 260. I don't have a huge amount left to go because there's a short story at the end of this, so I actually only have this much. I don't think I'm going to finish it today. I reckon I will probably finish it tomorrow when I am at work, so I will catch up with you then. Hopefully you've liked the baking clips. The cookies look absolutely dino, and I'm usually terrible at making cookies and biscuits and stuff like that. I just never seem to get them right, but these look like they might actually be cracking, so fingers crossed. And I will catch up with you when I've more thoughts. I just realised I haven't actually told you my current thoughts, you know, which is the entire point of a reading vlog, Amy. I was back at work today and I was on early and like my head is mush. So I'm still liking Hannah and I'm still enjoying the story, but I still haven't really connected to anybody in the same way that I've connected to Hannah. And I don't really feel like I know enough about the town and the townspeople to like really form a proper connection. I don't know if maybe that will come in later books, and this one is very much like a debut to Hannah, and then we'll sort of get to know all the other people, but I didn't have like the same emotional connection to this as what I did to Juliet in the Town and Meet Your Baker. So this is definitely the winner so far. We've had a couple of fatphobic comments in here, which irks me. I don't really feel like there is a need for that. In the beginning there was one where she talks about somebody like getting a bit of a ring round their middle and how they should like ease up off the cookies, and I was like, right, well, I don't know their relationship dynamic, that might just be a wee bit of tongue-in-cheek playfulness between them, I'm gonna let it slide. But so if you later on in the book they're talking about a woman and, you know, talking about how she's £300 and how it's inspired Hannah to, you know, want to get rid of the extra bit of weight that she's been carrying, and how, you know, she doesn't really have a lot of romantic connections and she doesn't really ever look great with the fact that she is a bigger gal, which is just bullshit posturing, man. And you know what hurts me more is when it's female authors that write shit like that, because I'm like, you, my friend, are just like forcing this problem. Like, you're pushing the patriarchy's narrative, mate. Like, are you daft? So that's annoying me, but I am trying to take into account that this book was written quite a long time ago now. It was written, you know, 2000s, so that's like 22 years ago. That is astounding. And you know, the body positivity movement probably wasn't around in the 2000s, and it was probably still fine to slag off the fatties and just talk about how disgusting and ugly they are. So I am trying to take that with a pinch of salt, but it is irking me a bit. I know that Gaia Athena talks about that in her reviews of these books, that there are some like comments that are like they have not aged well. So I did know that before I picked this up, but it's still a bit frustrating to read. I am doing the audiobook for this as well as reading it physically, and I'm really enjoying the audiobook. The narrator is absolutely brilliant and I'm having a great time. I think that she makes Hannah come across as very, very funny, very snarky in places, and I am enjoying it. I feel like she's got Hannah down to a T, which I am really enjoying. But like I say, I will finish this tomorrow and catch up with you on my thoughts then. Hello, so I finished Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder. I finished it this morning, like I said I was going to. It was a 3-star for me, this one. It wasn't the most amazing book I've ever read, but like, I still had a fun time with it. In the end, I still liked Hannah, and I lied during the entire vlog, by the way, because I kept telling you that I didn't like anybody other than Hannah, but I loved Moishe, our cat, who is like adorable and the best animal companion throughout the entire book. So I cared about Hannah and our cat, but by the end of this I still didn't care about anybody else. Our mum was dreadful and like was constantly just trying to assume she knew what was best for Hannah, and like forever try to set her up on dates and meddling, and who can be arsed. And our sister Andrea sounds like completely self-centered, and she has like a bit of a turning point through this book. I feel like that's her arc, and like, you know, she decides that she's going to be a better sister to Hannah, but like, I just didn't care. And I didn't care about her husband, the police chief. I didn't care about the new deputy who came to town. I slightly cared about the dentist that fancies Hannah, but like, I wouldn't go as far as to even say that I shipped them. Which was just a bit disappointing, and that was the big letdown for me. And then when the reveal happened as to who it was a character that like we haven't even had a huge amount of dealings with. Like, she's been in it, but like certainly not a main player or somebody that we've gotten to know. So like, when the reveal happened, like, fair enough, it wasn't who I expected it to be, but again, like, I just didn't really care, and that was a wee bit disappointing. I think I had hyped this up so much because Gaia Athena had like sold it to me so often, and while it was cute and it was cosy and I really did enjoy the recipes and the baking elements, which is why she recommended it to me, I think that Meet Your Baker was just the superior novel in this instance. The characters were brilliant, really likeable. The town was phenomenal, and this is a series I will 100% continue. I don't think that I'm going to continue with this one. I just think first impressions, this was the winner. So, in terms of, do I like the trope of a cosy mystery in a bakery? Absolutely, because even though I wasn't a huge fan of this one, I still really enjoyed that aspect, and at times that's what kept me reading. And the cookies that I made for this book, by the way, were unreal. Like, they were so good. Absolutely top tier snackage. But aye, Meet Your Baker was the winner. However, I do like the trope of a cosy mystery set in a bakery. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!